Have you ever looked around your quiet home and felt like the walls are just a little too silent these days? Maybe the TV's on, maybe the kettle's boiling, but something still feels missing. It's not always easy to put into words, but it shows up in the little moments. Like when you go to tell someone a funny story and realize there's no one around to laugh with you. Or when a special date rolls by, an anniversary, a birthday, and you remember it but no one else does. Now, if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Truly. Feeling lonely after 70 isn't unusual, it's actually more common than people talk about. Friends move, families get busy, health shifts, routines change, and suddenly, those once busy calendars look pretty empty. And here's the thing, it's not about needing a crowd or craving noise. It's about connection. Real, joyful, life-giving connection. And yes, it's absolutely still possible to build that, even now. Especially now. So, what can you do when loneliness tries to sneak in and make itself at home? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. In this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful, doable ways to reconnect with others and bring more joy into your days. Not big, dramatic life changes, just simple shifts that open the door to new friendships, deeper bonds, and moments of real belonging. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Reaching out doesn't always have to start with people you don't know. Sometimes, it begins with the ones you've already met, but lost touch with along the way. Think back for a second. Is there someone you used to laugh with? Maybe a neighbor you haven't seen in a while, or a cousin you always got along with, but haven't spoken to in years? Life has a way of scattering people like autumn leaves, off in different directions. But here's the beautiful part, it's never too late to reconnect. Pick up the phone. Write a note. Send a voice message if your hands aren't what they used to be. It doesn't have to be perfect. Hey, I was just thinking about you. How've you been? That's all it takes. You'd be amazed how many people are waiting for someone else to make the first move. And when you reach out, you're not just giving them a gift, you're giving yourself one too. A spark. A thread. A lifeline that says, hey, I'm still here. And I still care. But what if the people you knew are no longer around, or just not the right fit anymore? What if the loneliness feels deeper than an empty contact list? Well, let's talk about this next one because it might surprise you how powerful it really is. Volunteering. Yes, you, with your experience, your stories, your steady hands and kind eyes. There are people out there who need exactly what you have to offer. And I don't mean you have to commit to something huge or wear a name tag. Volunteering can be as simple as reading to kids at the library, helping out at a food pantry, or walking dogs for a local shelter. When you give your time, you don't just fill someone else's day, you fill your own too. You get out of the house. You meet people. You become part of something that matters. And here's a little secret. Purpose is one of the best cures for loneliness. It gives your day shape. It brings people into your world who share your values. And over time, those familiar faces start to become real friendships. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I'm not as mobile as I used to be. Or, I don't drive anymore. That's okay. This next one is just for you. The internet, yes, that mysterious digital world, can be a powerful tool for connection. And no, I'm not talking about scrolling through news articles or watching cat videos, although those can be fun too. I'm talking about online communities made just for people like you. There are book clubs, support groups, hobby meetups, and video chats, all designed for older adults who want to meet new people and share real conversations. You don't have to be a tech wizard. All you need is a basic device, maybe a little help getting set up, and a willingness to try. Imagine logging on and seeing familiar names pop up each week, talking about your favorite novels, sharing your thoughts, laughing at silly stories, and best of all, knowing that even from your own living room, you're not alone. You're part of something. And if computers really aren't your thing, there are programs that connect seniors by phone, too. Weekly check-ins, friendly chats, even group discussions, all without having to stare at a screen. Sometimes, just hearing another voice on the line is enough to lift your spirits and make your whole day a little brighter. See, loneliness isn't about how many people are around, it's about how connected you feel. And there are so many ways to feel connected again, even if you've been feeling isolated for a while. It just takes that first small step. So, if you've been spending more time with the TV remote than with real people, if your afternoons feel longer than they used to, and your evenings a bit too quiet, just know this: you're not invisible. You're not forgotten. And your need for companionship isn't something to feel embarrassed about. It's human. It's normal. And it's something you can change. That change begins with just one choice. One call. One conversation. One yes. You know, one of the most underrated things about growing older is how much wisdom we collect. Not just facts or dates, but real, lived-through-it-all wisdom. And that kind of experience? It's gold. But here's the catch. If we don't share it, it starts to gather dust. That's why this next idea can be so powerful: becoming a mentor. Now, don't let that word scare you off. You don't need a fancy title or a lifetime achievement award to be a mentor. If you've raised a family, worked a job, been through tough times, or just figured out how to make a mean cup of tea, you've got something valuable to offer. There are young people out there who feel just as lost and lonely as you might sometimes feel, but in a completely different way. They're flooded with options, distractions, and noise, but lacking in real, steady guidance. You could be that voice. You could be that steady hand. Maybe it's through a local school that runs a reading buddy program, or a community center where teens meet for homework help. Or maybe it's just a neighbor's kid who could use a little encouragement from someone who's been around the block more than once. When you offer even a small piece of your time to listen, to teach, or simply to be there, you're not just helping them, you're building something real. A bridge. The bond. A sense of purpose that works both ways. And you know what else happens? You start to see yourself again, not just as someone who's retired or older, but as someone who matters. Someone who still shapes the world, even in the quiet, powerful ways that really count. Now, I want to bring up something a little softer, but no less important. Hobbies. Yes, your hobbies. Because the things you love doing are often the doorway to finding people who love the same things. And nothing builds connection faster than shared joy. What is it that makes time fly for you? Is it painting? Knitting? Birdwatching? Gardening? Music? Whatever it is, chances are there's someone else nearby, or online, who lights up for the exact same thing. And here's the key: don't just do it alone. Find a group. Join a class. Look for meetups at the community center, or casual clubs at the library. You don't have to be good at anything. The whole point is to enjoy the doing, and to do it with others. Think about the power of that. You show up for an art class, and at first it's just paper and paint and strangers. But after a few sessions, you're chatting while you sketch, laughing about your crooked lines, complimenting someone else's work. Suddenly, it's not just art, it's connection. Even if you're nervous at first, that's okay. Most people are. But the more you show up, the easier it gets. And sometimes showing up is all it takes for the magic to start. Speaking of magic, let's talk about movement. Not exercise, necessarily, though that's great for the body, but movement with others. Dancing, walking, stretching, even chair yoga. Movement doesn't just get your muscles going. It gets your spirit moving too. There's something about walking beside someone, or dancing in sync to music, that just clicks. You don't have to say much. The rhythm says it for you. It creates connection in a way words sometimes can't. Community walking groups, dance socials for seniors, or gentle fitness classes, they're everywhere if you look. And what's lovely about them is how natural the friendships are. You see the same faces week after week. You sweat a little. You laugh a little. Before you know it, you're not just stretching your legs, you're expanding your circle. Plus, let's be honest, it's a lot easier to talk to someone after you've both messed up the same dance move. Shared embarrassment? Instant bond. Now, I know not everyone feels comfortable going out and joining groups. That's perfectly okay. Some of us are more introverted, or just not used to putting ourselves out there. And that brings me to something gentle but powerful: the art of being a connector in your own space. You don't always have to go out to find connection, you can invite it in. That could mean hosting a monthly tea afternoon for a few neighbors, or inviting someone over for a movie night, or even just baking cookies and bringing them to the couple down the hall with a note that says, "Thought you might enjoy these." You'd be amazed how much warmth can grow from those small gestures. People are often just waiting for someone else to break the ice. And when you do it, you become the seed of connection, not just for yourself, but for others who might be feeling exactly like you do. You see, building joyful connection isn't about reinventing your life. It's about letting life back in, bit by bit, person by person, moment by moment. It's about remembering that you are still someone worth knowing, worth listening to, worth being around. And it's about realizing that loneliness, while real and sometimes heavy, is not a permanent sentence. It's a signal, a nudge, a quiet invitation to reach out just a little. There's something that happens when we start feeling lonely. Slowly, quietly, we begin to shrink our world. We stop going to places where we used to chat with others. We stop making the little calls. We start saying things like, "They're probably too busy," or "I don't want to be a burden." And before we even realize it, the days get quieter, the invitations stop, and we wonder when exactly we faded into the background. But here's the thing, you haven't faded. You're still here. You still matter. And if your world has gotten small, it's not because you don't belong, it's because life has nudged you into the corner. Now it's time to nudge back. Sometimes, the best way to reconnect with others is to start by reconnecting with yourself. Because when you feel grounded and confident inside, it shows on the outside. People feel that. They're drawn to it. So let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you truly enjoyed your own company? I don't mean sitting quietly with a cup of tea while you flip through the news. I mean really checking in with yourself, doing something just for the joy of it. Rereading a favorite book. Taking yourself out for a coffee. Sitting in the sun and letting your thoughts wander without guilt or a to-do list. This kind of self-connection isn't a luxury, it's a foundation. It reminds you that you are whole, that you have interests, ideas, feelings, and stories. And the more you nurture that, the more naturally you begin to show up in the world again, not needing anyone to complete you, but open to the beauty of companionship. Because that's what joyful connection really is. It's not about filling a hole. It's about adding to the richness that's already there. You might be thinking, that sounds nice, but what if I try all this and people just don't respond? That's a fair concern. And sometimes, yes, it takes a few tries. You might reach out to someone who's too busy. You might go to a group and feel like the new person. You might feel awkward at first. But don't mistake those bumps for failure. That's just how new things feel. The truth is, connection grows slowly. It's like planting a garden. You don't throw a seed in the ground and expect roses by morning. But keep watering. Keep showing up. Keep tending to those tiny green shoots. And suddenly, one day, you realize the loneliness isn't quite so loud anymore. There's a little more light in the room. A few more smiles in your day. And speaking of smiles, don't underestimate the power of small talk. I know. It can feel silly or pointless. But sometimes, a quick comment in line at the pharmacy, or a warm hello to the mail carrier, is all it takes to start building a new connection. You don't have to go deep right away. A simple, "Isn't it a beautiful morning?" or "Have you tried the muffins here?" can open the door. From there, little conversations grow. Familiar faces become friendly ones. And slowly, those small moments start weaving themselves into your days. Because connection isn't always about dramatic reunions or big life changes. Often, it's the steady, everyday threads that create the strongest fabric. You smile. They smile. You see each other again. Before you know it, you've built a rhythm. And rhythm is where relationships begin. One more thing I want to say, and this one's important. If you're feeling overwhelmed by loneliness, if it's become more than just a passing feeling, please don't be afraid to talk to someone about it. Whether it's a doctor, a counselor, a spiritual guide, or a trusted friend, your feelings are real and they deserve attention. Loneliness can sometimes cloud into sadness, anxiety, even depression, and that doesn't mean you're broken or weak. It means you're human. Reaching out for support isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign of strength. It's you saying, "I care about my life. I want more." And that is something to be proud of. You've lived through so much. You've adapted, endured, celebrated, and grown. And the truth is, connection has always been part of what makes life rich. You deserve that now just as much as ever. Maybe your days don't look like they used to. Maybe the people you once leaned on aren't nearby anymore. But the opportunity to build something new? It's still here. The capacity to love, to laugh, to feel truly seen, it doesn't fade with age. If anything, it deepens. So whether it's rekindling an old friendship, stepping into a new community, mentoring someone younger, or simply being more present in your daily life, you have more influence than you realize. You can be the spark. You can create the moment. You can start the conversation. And no matter what yesterday looked like, today is a new chance. To open the curtains. To say hello. To make someone smile. To remind yourself and the world that you're still vibrant, still valuable, and still capable of building the kind of connections that bring real joy. Let's take a deep breath together for a moment. You've made it through so many chapters of life, some filled with joy, others with heartache, some fast-paced and full of people, others quiet and still. And now, here you are, in a new season. A different rhythm. And maybe, just maybe, you've been wondering if this chapter can still surprise you with connection, with laughter, with that warm feeling that only comes when someone truly gets you. The answer, my friend, is yes. 1,000 times, yes. Because connection doesn't have an expiration date. Joy doesn't retire. And you? You haven't missed your chance. Not even close. So here's something you can do right now, today. Choose one tiny action. Not a big leap. Just a small, gentle step towards someone. Write that birthday card you've been meaning to send. Knock on your neighbor's door and ask if they'd like to share a cup of tea. Look up a local group online and bookmark the one that piques your curiosity. Or just pick up the phone and call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Even leaving a kind comment on a community board or reaching out to a local organization can begin something special. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to have all the right words or feel completely confident. You just have to show up exactly as you are. Because when you show up, people respond. Maybe not every single one, but many will. They'll be relieved that someone broke the silence. They'll be grateful that you said hello. And some of them? They'll be just like you, hoping for the exact same connection, but unsure how to begin. The truth is, we all want to feel seen. We all want to feel like we matter. And in this world that sometimes moves too fast and forgets to look back, your presence, your warmth, your kindness, can be the very thing that brings someone else out of their shell. And you'll start to notice something. As you begin to open those doors, as you start to plant those small seeds of friendship, the loneliness that once sat heavily on your shoulders starts to loosen its grip. It fades little by little. It turns into something softer. Something that can breathe. You begin to feel moments of real joy again. Those simple, beautiful things that make the day worth waking up for. A shared story over lunch. A belly laugh during a game. The gentle hush of companionship during a walk. A hand reaching for yours, not to fix you, not to rescue you, but simply to be with you. And let's not forget, you bring joy to others too. You're not just someone looking for connection. You're also someone who offers it. Your kindness, your experience, your stories, your patience, these are gifts. Don't underestimate them. Someone out there needs your voice. Your presence. Your listening ear. Your calm. The way you hum when you wash dishes. The way you remember birthdays. The way you always know just when someone needs a little encouragement. These are things that cannot be replaced or imitated. They are uniquely yours. So if loneliness has been creeping in, trying to convince you that you've been left behind or that life has passed you by, I want you to hear this clearly. That voice is lying. You are not too old. You are not too late. And you are most certainly not alone in feeling the way you do. There's still time for new friendships, for surprising laughter, for warm dinners and lazy Sunday chats. There's still time to be a part of something meaningful, something joyful, something real. Let yourself be brave. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself take that first, gentle step. And as you do, remember, building connection doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's just one human heart reaching out to another. And yours? Yours still has so much love to give. So today, go do something kind for your heart. Go connect. Go say hello. Go remind the world, and yourself, that this chapter of life is still full of possibility. If this video has touched you, helped you, or even just made you feel understood for a few minutes, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share your thoughts, your story, or even just a simple wave, because even that can help someone else feel less alone. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here, one filled with encouragement, kindness, and people just like you, who believe that it's never too late to live a rich, connected life. Here's to friendships that start with a smile, to conversations that spark something new, and to the quiet courage it takes to reach out, one heart at a time. Here's to you, living your best life, right here, right now, and at any age. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.